Imagine waking up inside your favorite video game, but instead of being a handsome, heroic knight, you realize you're trapped inside a giant, hulking skeleton.
Yeah, it's quite the rude awakening.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are unpacking a recent news drop for Skeleton Knight in Another World, getting ready for its highly anticipated Season 2 release this coming July.
Right, and today's source material actually gives us a fascinating look at how anime series bridge that multi-year gap between seasons, using both clever marketing and some major behind-the-scenes restructuring.
So let's start with the marketing. They just dropped a brand new special music video.
And it is actually pretty brilliant. I mean, they didn't just drop a standard trailer with like a random montage of action shots to hype you up.
Yeah.
Instead, they used the first season's ending theme song.
Oh, Bokure ga Orokadanante Dare ga Ida by Dialogue Plus, right?
Exactly. But the visuals are what really caught my attention. They recap the events of the 2022 first season, but the camera essentially flips.
Wait, what do you mean flips? Like, we aren't seeing the recap through the main character's eyes anymore.
Right, no, we're watching everything unfold exclusively from the perspective of his companions. The heroines Ariane and Cheome.
Oh, wow. It's almost like rereading a favorite fantasy novel strictly from the sidekick's point of view.
It completely changes the psychological weight of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, when you follow a hero through their own point of view, you hear their internal monologue, you see their doubts, and you understand their logic.
But stripping that away, you only see the sheer impact of the hero's choices.
Exactly. You just see this towering figure suddenly executing these inexplicable, larger-than-life heroics. The events you already know backwards and forwards suddenly feel much more mysterious.
And that mystery is absolutely essential, especially when your protagonist is as bizarre as Ark.
Oh, definitely.
Looking at the Crunchyroll plot synopsis, Ark is a gamer who is transported into an MMO, a massively multiplayer online game world.
But he didn't just get dropped in. He is completely trapped inside his digital avatar's body. So he has this imposing, massive armor on the outside, but underneath all that metal, he is a literal walking skeleton.
Right. And because he's a skeleton, his biggest fear is being mistaken for a monster and hunted down by the locals.
Yeah, so he decides his best play is to just keep a completely low profile, working as an incognito mercenary.
But his strict moral compass constantly ruins that plan. Like, if he witnesses an injustice, he physically cannot stop himself from stepping in to help.
It's the ultimate clash of survival versus morality. He desperately wants to fly under the radar, but his innate goodness just constantly drags him into the light.
Okay, but I have to push back on his logic here. I mean, how sustainable is that plan, really?
Well, it's definitely flawed.
Right, you can't exactly play the incognito mercenary when you're a towering, mysterious suit of armor whose heroic nature forces you to constantly save the day. It's a complete paradox.
You're totally right. It is a massive paradox.
Yeah.
You are actively drawing attention to the exact thing you're terrified of exposing.
Exactly.
And that's the actual engine driving the entire plot. Ark mistakenly thinks the armor is his disguise, but his actions are his true tell. The harder he tries to hide his physical reality, the more his moral reality exposes him to the world.
That is such an interesting tension. And, trying to maintain an established identity while dealing with new realities perfectly mirrors what's happening with the show's actual production.
It really does. Season 2 is dealing with some major high-stakes shifts behind the scenes.
Yeah, or a studio is stepping in to replace Studio KAI and Hornets for the animation production.
And on top of that, Toshitsu Nomoto is taking over for series composition. And just to clarify anime terminology for a second, series composition means he's the head writer steering the overall narrative, not the musical composer.
Got it. But that is a lot of new blood taking over the project. Why do anime series do this between seasons?
It usually comes down to scaling up the animation quality or just dealing with intense scheduling bottlenecks in the industry. But bringing in a totally new studio is a huge risk because you can so easily lose the specific visual flavor that made the first season a hit.
Which is probably why they kept some heavy hitters from Season 1 to anchor the project. Like, Katsumi Ono is returning to direct.
Oh, and Toru Imanishi is staying on as character designer. That is the perfect safety net.
So they sort of act like the guardrails.
Precisely. They ensure the tonal consistency, making sure the world still feels like the one you fell in love with in 2022. Meanwhile, the new animation studio and head writer get to inject a fresh visual and narrative energy into that established framework.
Well, we've got a fresh narrative perspective, a protagonist battling his own heroic paradox, and a revamped production team ready to expand the world. It all comes together when Season 2 drops this July.
It is definitely a return worth watching. And, it leaves you with a lingering question to chew on.
Oh, what's that?
Well, think about Ark's predicament. If you woke up tomorrow trapped inside the literal body of your digital avatar, would your first instinct be to hide your new identity from the world? Or would the complete anonymity of that mask actually empower you to be your truest self?